Welcome back to Carlo Peruzza MMA. I am Carlo Peruzza with wrestling legend, WCW legend, WWF legend. He did some action in TNA. Yes. He is Mr. Marcus Buff Bagwell. Buff, we're over here at the Citadel Mall for Collector's Corner and Palmetto Autographs. Doing a little autograph signing. You've done a lot of these in your day, in your career. Does it ever get old coming to meet your fans?
Man, I tell you what, I get so excited every time. I mean, we didn't get a chance to come to Charleston a whole lot. You know, we were all over the world, but Charleston was not a big city for us. But man, the fans are always still the same because they saw us on TV. Man, that TV was really powerful, and we had a great thing in that 90s run. That Monday Night Nitro, Monday Night Raw fight that was going on was special. It was special. It was magical, and people still care. It kind of shocks me to see the turnout from time to time, but it was a great time of their lives, and they remember it. And I tell you, I had just as much fun doing it as they did watching it.
So during your career, you've signed tons and tons of autographs, I'm sure, millions probably at this point. What is some of the weirder items you've ever signed?
Oh, wow. I tell you what, I signed a hood. I signed a dashboard of a brand new Corvette one time. And I asked the guy 3 times, I said, brother, I'm pretty cool today, but in 5 years, I may not be too cool. And he said, you're Buff Bagwell to me, brother. I said, okay. So somewhere there's a Corvette. There's a couple of dashes signed that blew my mind, man. I was like, man, are you sure you want to do this?
So obviously you're wearing it, NWO, you were part of it. What was that experience like?
The biggest, best thing in the world. It was something I got to see pro wrestling go from begging fans to come in to watch our show to we didn't have tickets to sell. And it was a great run, a great time to see wrestling be so much fun. I didn't have to defend pro wrestling for 5 years. Your whole career, it was about, is wrestling fake or not, and all the stupid questions and stuff. But during that run, there was nothing fake about NWO fans and loving the business and loving the sport. It was just wrestling was cool for the first time in 100 years, and I happened to be part of it.
You know, obviously you got to work a lot with Scott Hall. You got to work with Kevin Nash. What was it like for those guys? You learned a couple things from them?
Man, I was fortunate enough to be in the ring with all of those guys. You know, Rick Rude coming up. Stone Cold was stunning Steve Austin for us. I mean, I learned from the best, man. You know, Larry Zbyszko's, legends like that. To again, you know, Rick Rude's and Stone Cold's. It was incredible. Arn Anderson's, Ric Flair, Lex Luger's, Sting's, Diamond Dallas Page's. The list went on and on and on. It was a fantastic time to be a pro wrestler because there were so many good ones. That Monday Night Nitro roster was an A-talent roster, brother.
How do you think the Monday Night War has affected the business, and do you think it has maybe turned it into what it is today? Has that had a big part of it?
Oh, 100%. Pro wrestling is what it is today because of that Monday Night run, that Monday Night War run. On every television inside of a WCW locker room was a WWF show, Monday Night Raw. And at their show, it was Monday Night Nitro in the locker rooms. I mean, they knew what we were doing and we knew what they were doing. And our show was 8 to 10, and their show was 9 to 11. So at 8:59, you better know what you were at, and you better know what you were doing, or you were fired.
Do you take a lot of pride in representing WCW back in the day?
I take a tremendous amount of pride because I was there in the very beginning and I was there to the very end. I know where the bodies are buried. I mean, I really do. It was a fantastic company, a fantastic business, a fantastic decade of my life that I loved every second of it. Ted Turner was our boss. I basically got paid to do what I love to do, and I got paid to travel the world. And on top of that, I got to be in one of the biggest stables in the history of time, the New World Order.
Was the ending of WCW emotional for you?
Oh my God. It was devastating, bro. It was the only thing I kind of had to hold on to was my father called me. I was driving home from Panama City, extremely depressed, and my father called me and he said, you know, are you watching the show? And I said, no. And he goes, well, Vince said your name. And I said, what? So if you watch that episode back, the night they took over, if you watch that back, Vince on their program on Monday Night Raw, as they're via satellite with him and Shane talking, he says 5 names, and I'm one of the 5. And Vince don't do that. So in the beginning, I can tell you, even though it turned out the way it did, in the beginning, I was figured in. Buff Bagwell was figured in, and that made me feel great at the time. It didn't last very long for whatever reason, but in the beginning, I was figured in, and that made me feel good. So, but it was a really, really dark, depressing time for me.
You know, in the current landscape of the business, WWE has some competition. Obviously, you have your AEWs, you have your TNAs still. Is that good for the business?
It's great for the business. When the WCW had WWF against the ropes, it wasn't good. I remember being on private jets going to Monday Night Nitro and high-fiving Eric Bischoff because we beat the WWF again. But the boys, we knew that wasn't good, you know? We knew there had to be more than just one company. There had to be. If there was just one football team, there's no money involved. There being more teams, more competition, there's more money involved. Every time you see a McDonald's, there's a Burger King and a Wendy's close by because competition brings money. The WWF, WWE needs competition, and AEW is that competition.
All right, Bob, last question for you. What are you up to these days, man? What are your goals for the rest of 24?
Man, my goal is a real big one. It is the WWE Hall of Fame. I think I deserve it. I think I got the right resume. I would love to wrestle again, but I think the main goal for me is the WWE Hall of Fame.
Well, Bob, thank you so much for talking to me today, my man. Enjoy your signing. That's about the stuff. I'm Carl Prusa. Stick around.